Good morning.
Good morning.
Desmond, can you go to the next slide? Does anybody recognize this symbol? My sister-in-law said, oh yeah. It's text message symbol, right? Anybody who's got a smartphone who texts at all with anybody knows exactly what that symbol is for. Oh yeah, you have a toy smartphone when you go to school? Yeah, text messages or texting has become perhaps the most used method of communication in recent years. You can send word messages or video messages or even emojis through a text. Today's Bible story is about the prophet Jeremiah. His story is found in the Old Testament right after last week's prophet Isaiah's book. Jeremiah's journey of being a prophet placed him in some very strange situations. In later verses, Jeremiah found himself sitting in a well with mud all around him and covering parts of his body. There was mud in his ears and under his toenails and fingernails. Yeah, nails. He would never get all this mud off himself, he thought. That is, if he ever got out of the well. While it was totally quiet, Jeremiah heard his stomach rumble. The day before, someone had lowered some bread down to him. So far today, nothing, and he was hungry. Jeremiah started to wonder if he would ever get out of the bottom of the well. Would he die in the well? All of this just because he gave the people a message from God. Do you remember what that person is called? A person who gives people messages from God? Does anybody remember? A prophet. That's right. Jeremiah was a prophet. Jeremiah was still, however, in the well. God's people just wouldn't listen. They were going to go into battle and be conquered with Babylon's soldiers. Some would die, many would be captured. Just when Jeremiah was about to give up hope, he looked up out of the well to see several men who dropped some rope and rags to him. They told him to put the rags under his arms to help pad the ropes, so he wouldn't get rope burned. Then they slowly lifted Jeremiah out of the well. Jeremiah was so glad that he was out of the well. He knew that God was going to protect him. God knew that it wasn't a mistake asking Jeremiah to spread God's message. God doesn't make a mistake when God asks us to do something either. God has known us long before we are born. God knows more about us and knows we are made for this work. God's promise is not to abandon us, and that promise never fails. We might all feel that we aren't good enough to do the work God asks us to do. We give God many excuses, but God does not give up on us. If I were to send a text to someone reminding that person that God does not give up on us, I might come up with an abbreviation such as GNG with an up arrow emoji. God never gives up. Sometimes being a prophet and spreading God's message isn't easy. Sometimes people don't want to hear the message. Sometimes spreading God's message might place you in a situation that is dangerous or scary. Jeremiah felt all of those things, but he did the right thing, even when doing the right thing was the hardest thing he ever had to do. We can be just like Jeremiah. Even when your friends are doing the wrong thing, you do what you know is right with God. We are reminded that God never gives up. May it be so. Amen.